BookTube, it's Missy, and today I'm here to film a bunch of videos, but this video in particular is going to be my June talk plus the wrap-up. The reason why I'm doing a June talk is because I read 4 books in June, so I figured I had a little wiggle room to make a longer video. So I'll just start with the first week of June and go from there because June was a fantastic month for me and I'm very excited to share everything with you guys. So from the 1st through the 8th, you guys know that I went to see my husband's side of the family on the island of Oahu, and it was a lot of fun. My kids got to play at the beach. We had lots of ono food, which is good in Hawaiian. Again, the family reunion. I got to go to my first luau. To me personally, growing up in Hawaii, a luau is a tourist trap, but it was nice to actually go and eat and watch the dancers. But yeah, if you wanted a more authentic feel to Polynesian dancing, you can always go to the Polynesian Culture Center that they have in Honolulu. So, with that being said, I did take 3 books with me on the plane ride to Hawaii, and it was these 3 books here. We have Bad Girls Don't Die, Pet Sematary, and Heartless by Gail Carriger. I ended up reading just one book, which is Bad Girls Don't Die, and this is the first book in the series by Katie Allender. I gave this book, is it 3 stars, I think? I do own the second book and I do want to continue the series, but once I've completed this, I think it's a trilogy, I will probably be giving them away to you guys. It's a trade away. It's not something that I would reread again. It's a paranormal, like almost like demon possession kind of story. It's about 2 girls, Alexis and Katie. Alexis is the older sister. She is in high school. I think she's a freshman. I'm pretty sure she's a freshman. Her sister, Katie, is in 7th or 8th grade. I can't remember. Anyways, they've been living in this town for a few years now, and the house that they live in is known for being kind of haunted, and 2 other families prior to them moving in either died or were murdered, and so, but the girls, they don't know anything about this. Nobody talks about it. Everybody who lives in the town are older, so they know about the incidences. There you go. But the kids don't know very much, and nobody really talks about it. So Alexis one night is taking pictures of her house, and she sees a light, like a ball of light. And if you watch a lot of like ghost videos or ghost documentaries, you know that those little balls of light are supposed to represent ghosts or whatever. And so when I was reading this, like, oh, it's a ghost, cool. But basically, Alexis never can figure out what it is. She never gets close enough to it and it disappears, and so she doesn't know what happened. But her sister starts acting very strange from that night onward, and come to find out that there's a little bit of possession going on with her sister. So the entire book, Alexis is trying to figure out how to take back the house, how to get rid of this evil spirit, how to get her sister back, and yeah, that's basically the book. Like I said, it's a 3-star. It was interesting. I enjoyed reading it. Not something I would reread. The ending really threw me for a loop. I just did not like the ending whatsoever. I felt like there was something missing between the last scene and then the ending, because there's like a couple months, like 5 months in between of what happened, like the climax, and then like the epilogue or whatever. Is it epilogue? Prologue. Epilogue. That's the ending. Yeah, I didn't understand how it went from point A to point B like that, and so I was very confused. That's why I definitely want to read the sequel to the book. Maybe it'll give you a little bit more insight on what took place between those 5 months. But Yeah, and if one of your buzzwords is dolls, then you'll definitely want to read this. So this is a kind of creepy, possession, haunted, paranormal book with dolls. Dolls freak me out, and yeah, it was okay. That was a really long explanation. I apologize. Okay, so then on the 9th, or the 8th, we came back from Hawaii, and then from the 9th until the 22nd, I had to go back to work. The kids went back to work, and it was, you know, normal. I didn't want to be there like most people who just got back from vacation. It took me a week to recover from the jet lag. Hawaii is 3 hours back, so it was always weird for me to go to sleep because I would look at the time in Hawaii and it would be like, say, 10, but in California it would be like 1 o'clock in the morning, and so I always thought I was up later than I actually was, and so it took me forever to get back into my sleeping pattern when I got back to California, and so I was really, really tired that next week, and so I didn't read anything. And then comes the 22nd. Was the last day of school. The day before, my son, who's 11, Kaleo, did his promotion, so from 5th grade to 6th grade. So I have a middle schooler now, which is very strange. I feel like he was just a baby, and all parents say that, but they do grow extremely fast. Like, you wake up one day and they're adults and you're thinking, oh my God, what happened? And that's how I feel with my 11-year-old. He's so big. He's practically my height now. He's going to go into 6th grade next year, which means he finally gets a cell phone. Not something that's going to be super expensive. We're not getting him a smartphone. I don't care about you parents out there who let your 2nd, 3rd graders have iPhones. I don't believe in that. My child does not need to be hooked to the internet all day long. I mean, he has internet on the weekends with his video games and everything else, but unless it's schoolwork, there's no internet access during the week. A little kid does not need to be plugged in that often. So we'll probably be getting him like one of those really cheapy, like go-to, pay-as-you-go, whatever flip phones, just so he has a phone to contact me if there's an emergency, because landlines are pretty much non-existent in this day and age. And he will also be like home by himself for the first time for an hour before I get home from work, which is again something that I'm not used to. I mean, he's old enough to stay home now, but when I was little, latchkey kids were something that was expected. Lots of parents worked and kids just went home, and then you used to have those commercials where, you know, if you picked up the phone, you would lie and say mom and dad's in the shower or they're taking a nap, can I take a message? You never answered the door because, you know, strangers could be lurking around outside. And yeah, so in this day and age, you kind of like are more paranoid about your children, so I'm finally leaving my 11-year-old home for a short amount of time before I get home from work. And so that is new and strange territory for me. And yeah, so on the 23rd, I went to Hawaii again, but this time I went to the island of Kauai, and that's where my father and my grandmother lives, and my sister, who lives in New Zealand, flew in, and so I got to spend 5 days with my sister and my brother-in-law and my new baby niece, who's 3 months, and she's so stinking adorable. I could just die. I could just die. Readathon, which was the hashtag TBR takedown, I believe. I think that's what it was. And so I took 8 books with me, which is absolutely ridiculous to bring that many books with you on the plane. I didn't expect to read that many. But I did, however, finish one, which is nice, and that is Heartless by Gail Carriger. I started to read this during the Read-O-Rama, which was, I think, the 2nd or 3rd week in June, and I never finished it, and so I finished it during the hashtag TBR takedown, and this was a buddy read with Sylvia over at Wish Fulfillment. This is the 4th book in the Parasol Protectorate series. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars, like always, maybe 4.5. I can't remember. It's amazing. It wraps up a couple things that I've been waiting for. And we finally get to meet a character that we've been waiting for the last 2 books to meet. So it was very exciting, and I'm anxious to read the last and final book, which is Timeless. And I believe I'll be reading that in July with Sylvia, so we can find out what happens next. Super excited. If you haven't started this urban fantasy, which is an adult fiction series, definitely pick it up. It is amazing. And speaking of read-o-rama, I did read one book, well, finish one book during that readathon, and that is 30 Days of Night, which is Omnibus 1, which has 3 different graphic novels in it. So let me just turn to that page. It's 30 Days of Night, Dark Days, and Return to Barrow, which is the town in Alaska. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 3.5 stars, I think. The illustrations are wonderfully gritty and dark. The vampires are creepy as shit. I loved them. The storyline and plot is pretty good. I did enjoy the movie version of the first book, which is 30 Days of Night, better than the actual graphic novel because it felt more action-packed, but the actual plot line and story of the graphic novel was a little bit better because they did switch things around in the movie a little bit. So if you like more action, definitely read or definitely watch the movie. If you're more into storyline, pick up the graphic novel. So beautiful, loved it. I will definitely be buying the Omnibus 2 when I get a chance. How was my trip to Kauai? I barely took any pictures. I didn't post anything on Instagram. I spent too much time just having fun with my dad and my sister. And it's different when you are hanging out with your family versus your husband's side of the family. This was more of a relaxed vacation. I went without my children and husband, so it was 5 days of just being by myself. So I spent a lot of that time lying around, watching TV, talking story with my sister, playing with the baby, going to the beach, and then just lying at the beach. There was one night where my brother-in-law said, hey, we need a bonding moment before I go back to New Zealand. We haven't actually hung out before. Let's drink. And I'm like, you know, I'm such a bad drinker. I used to drink a lot when I was in college, not necessarily going to parties, but I would just, you know, do a couple shots at home every night, whatever, just to like unwind because college was stressful. But I'm known to black out very easily if I have too much hard alcohol. Beer, for some reason, never affects me, but hard alcohol always messes with my mind. So me and my brother-in-law drank. If you guys have ever had the Captain Morgan Long Island iced tea mix, you'll know what I'm talking about. We drank the entire bottle. I had half, he had half. And after the first 2, I was completely fine. I was, you know, taking care of the baby, and it took a long time to drink. I mean, we spent like 4 or 5 hours drinking, so it wasn't like I was guzzling this all down in one sitting. I was totally nursing these drinks, and so I felt that I wasn't drunk. But for some reason, between the second and the third cup, I got really drunk, and my family thought it was absolutely hilarious, which the last time I was drunk was 11 years ago. So as you can see, I rarely ever drink, and so this was something that my family laughed at me about the entire time I was on the island with them. So every day they would bring it up. Oh, remember this, remember this. And so I was just super embarrassing. I don't know. They were asking me, like, when do you remember last? And I was like, well, I remember sitting at the table. And then apparently I tried to go to my room and I fell down. And apparently I was talking silly, and my dad and my sister supposedly took pictures and video for blackmail. I don't know if this is true, but when I did wake up the next morning, I was sleeping on the couch in the garage, which, ew, because there's cockroaches in Hawaii, so I don't know why they left me there, but apparently I needed to stay there because I was getting sick. And when I woke up, my sister, she's 16, lovingly drew boy genitalia all over my face. Thank God it wasn't with Sharpie, it was with Crayola markers. But that was the first time in my entire life, and I'm 35, that I had ever been drawn on. I always thought that was like a boy thing, like you draw stupid things on boys' faces. Like during college, when they're in like those, whatever they call those parties. Yeah, so that was super embarrassing, and I was really like sick. Like I didn't have a headache or anything, but I just felt nauseous all day. And my sister thought it was hilarious. Both my sisters did. My brother-in-law was super happy that we had this time to share. I mean, he got sick too, but God, so embarrassing. Do you have any like drunk stories? Let me know down below. Again, I don't drink very often. I have children and I never have time to like unwind anymore because I'm always busy. So this was a nice unwind. At the same time, I wish I didn't do that because now my dad has stories and he just kept bringing it up. Oh, you mean all the stuff on your face? I'm like, shut up, Dad. Shut up, Dad. I can't believe you let my sister do that. Like, you're the meanest father ever. And yeah, so that was silly and I guess fun. I don't know. I missed the whole day because I didn't feel good. Yeah, okay, and so I get back from vacation on the 27th. That was a very long plane ride, and I've been trying to catch up on sleep ever since. I am now off of work because I do work for the school district, so I don't work during the summer. And again, I haven't read much. I will show you the books that I did start on my Kauai vacation. I did start There's a Slight Chance I Might Be Going to Hell by Lori Notaro. It's pretty good so far. I got to page 38. It's not bad. It's about a couple who has no kids and they move from Texas, I believe, to Washington or Oregon. And so that's as far as I got. They had, maybe it was Arizona. It was a hot climate. Maybe it's Arizona to Washington. But it's silly and I am enjoying it so far. And then I also started Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel with the Maddie Hatter. I will leave her channel link down below. This one's actually extremely good. It's a post-apocalyptic book about a traveling symphony. And they not only do they do like symphony, but they're also a Shakespearean act as well. And the entire, I guess, planet all was exposed to a flu virus called the Georgia flu. It started in Moscow, and the whole plane brought it over to the United States, and everybody on board got sick and died. Flu-like symptoms, and then you die. I can't remember how long it took to die. Maybe a week? I don't know. So this is the aftermath of what happens now. There's no electricity, no internet. People are living in just abandoned buildings. I don't know what the percentage of how many people died, but most of civilization has perished. And so this traveling symphony or like Shakespearean people, they go to the same towns every year, and they've been doing it for a while now because they're familiar with the coastline, and so they just do the same route over and over again. It's very strange so far. I'm on chapter 26, which is page 159, so I'm halfway through it. And yeah, I am definitely going to try and finish this up either this weekend or definitely by next week. And then I am also still chugging along on Vampires in the Lemon Grove and Other Stories by Karen Russell. I am currently on page 113. I believe I'm starting the 5th story. My favorite story so far has been the one with the silkworms. Reeling for the Empire has been my favorite. Yeah, so Vampires in the Lemon Grove, I'll just kind of go over a little bit of them with you, was okay. It's about a vampire who lives in a lemon grove. Obvious. Reeling for the Empire, my favorite story so far, is about girls who turn into silkworms and make silk for the Empire. I thought that was a fascinating story, and I loved the ending, what happened to their capturer. The Seagull Army Descends on Strong Beach, that one was okay. That's about a seagull who collects future items, and this boy who comes across this nest. So he digs through them and he finds like future tickets to places and future keys and all this stuff. But the ending was very abrupt and I didn't understand. And then there was Proving Up, which is the very last story I've read so far. And it's about a family who lives in the Midwest during the time where you just started getting land in the United States, and you had to claim it, and for 5 years you had to live on this land and grow crops, and then someone would come out. I can't remember what he's called. Not the prospector. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The person would come out and then he would either give you the deed or the title to this land and your home, or he wouldn't. And I guess it was supposed to be like a horror story, but it was super long, and the scary part didn't come until the very, very end, and then I was very confused. I was like, was it real? Was it not real? I don't understand what's going on. So the next story I'll be reading is The Barn at the End of Our Term, and since I haven't gotten to that yet, I can't talk about it. But so far, so good, and yeah, it makes me curious to read more things by Karen Russell. Alright, and the very last book that I read, which I finished last night, is Giant Days, Volume 1 by Allison Tierman and Kogar. This I would consider a college sitcom graphic novel. It's about 3 girls. They are so funny. I loved the illustrations. So we have, let me just show you a picture. Here's the very first page. That's not it. Here it is. Can you see it? Can you? Oh, yes, yes. God. So this right here is Daisy, and then we have Esther, and then we have Susan. Daisy is a goody two-shoes, very naive, super innocent, very tall, and she may or may not be a lesbian. She doesn't know yet, but she thinks she is. Esther is a gothic chick who's very interesting. Everybody thinks that she's awesome, and yeah, she is drama filled. Like bad things happen to her pretty much every day. And then we have Susan, the tomboy, who you meet McGraw, which is like her former boyfriend or lover or whatever, and they fight the whole time, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So those are the 3 girls. It's all about their college years. This is their first year in college. I absolutely love like I said, the illustrations are hilarious, and it's just silly. It's just them getting into shenanigans every day in college. My favorite parts were when they were sick and the revenge they took on the frat boys that posted Esther's picture on some kind of website for like the hottest new meat that has come to the college campus, and that was really funny. So yeah, I am definitely looking forward to Volume 2. And that was my month in a nutshell. I read 2 novels, and with the omnibus I read 4 graphic novels. So yeah, I did okay. I mean, I wish I could have read more. I did start a lot. Oh, I also read I Hunt Killers. I am currently on page 126. I'm really, really, really loving this. If you like, I've never watched Dexter. I know. I don't have cable. And that's usually my my excuse, but I can't sit down and watch TV. I'm so bad at watching TV. But anyways, if you like Dexter, this is kind of like it, because the boy in here Jasper, that's his name, right? Yeah, Jasper Dent. He is the son of a serial killer, a famous serial killer who's killed a ton of people. And he's trying to prove himself by capturing serial killers. Now in Dexter, he works as a police officer and actually kills serial killers. So he is also a serial killer. In this book, so far, Jasper does not kill anyone, but he's trying to solve a mystery for the police because he thinks it's a serial killer. The police think it's not, but he wants to prove himself that he will not grow up to be like his father. And so the mystery ensues. Absolutely love it. I really, really, really like the narrator on the audiobook because I'm currently listening to it. He's got a fantastic voice. I will leave that information down below in case you're wanting to pick up this book on audio. I have the entire series, so I will be continuing on, and yeah. So that was my June talk and wrap up. I hope you guys had a wonderful reading month. I hope you guys have a great week. It is Friday, and so yeah, have a great weekend too. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!